Welcome again to Wednesday. As you all know, I go live for an hour and try to help you guys or just talk about whatever I think could be interesting during the week. And I haven't had many questions this week because I've also been very busy running around for the new studio and stuff like that. So still moving things. There's boxes everywhere. I've got negatives, like 12 by 20 negatives, just randomly around here. And this was a project I have of building myself a 12 by 20 camera based on the Weham 8 by 10. If you've never seen the I would say Weeman or Wehman. It's Wehman cameras, and it's a very easy clamshell camera, very lightweight. I think it's not, I wouldn't say easy to make, but it's pretty reasonable to try to make. And I asked some people for some 12 by 20 negatives so I can make, the camera accordingly. I wanted to do my own, at least back of it, and start maybe buying a film holder and stuff like that. Hogger says, is there a way to make a negative from a digital image so you can print it in the darkroom? There is a way. You can make an intern negative, which is what they call them, if I'm not wrong. And what you do is you turn it into Photoshop, you invert it. If it's a digital image, you invert it to negative, and then you print it on some special paper. There's this pictorial paper, which is what people use. And then you got to use a proper printer that will, don't have a lot of dots and stuff. There's a lot of people doing that with hybrid shooting film, or digital, and then wanting to do platinum prints and stuff like that. So you can probably research there. I know there's people doing that, and it's working pretty well. Yeah, these do look like X-rays from hospitals. They're actually mistakes, which were very expensive mistakes from a user that sent them to me. They are even marked by the user with the details of everything. What film it was. This is Coney Island, I think. And it says everything on it. What lens, how much time, latitude and longitude, and all that. So it's pretty interesting. Scene says you should get the DeVere LCD and larger. Instead of a light source, it's a high-res brightness screen in a DeVere 504. But Hogarth, you don't even shoot digital, which is interesting enough. But yeah, getting everything ready, going to the studio. I've had an interesting week. I stumbled upon someone, Sean. I always see Sean and I always make the mistake. I'm really sorry. Being Spanish and not reading English names, I make these mistakes. So I'm sorry. This week I met someone really interesting through, they lost her tripod. It was a woman, and on the airplane, and she was looking for a heavy duty tripod to shoot a project at a beach here. I live in Bilbao in Spain, and down the road is the beach, and they're throwing a cable all the way from this beach to Virginia, the USA, to connect us with like high-speed internet, whatever it is. So she needed a heavy-duty tripod for shooting this project, and I lent her one of mine. She came to the studio, she grabbed it, and she was very thankful about it. And I just thought about how we all, as film users or photographers, hobby or amateur or professional, should help each other. If I was in the same situation and I traveled abroad or somewhere and someone lost my tripod or my camera and I had a special project that can only happen that one time, you spend the money on the flight, you spend the money on the hotel. Having like that network of photographers that can help each other, I think is very important. And that comes to the whole internet and why I do these videos and why I do my YouTube stuff and my news, which are uploading as we talk, because yesterday was a long day and I couldn't do it. It all comes down to that. How much do we want to help each other and how much do we want to not help each other? And I'm all about helping if I can. So yeah, that's what I thought. Have you guys ever seen or done anything for someone that's a total stranger, trusting them in a way? Like I remember giving someone one of these, not this one, but the Olympus MJU Mark 1 for free, because this man was traveling through boat only commercial lines, and he was like 75, and he shot slide film in 2016. And I gave him my camera. I mean, I don't know if I'm the only one out there doing that kind of stuff, but I want to think that if that happened to me when I'm 75 and I'm shooting only slides in 2050 or whatever, someone will be nice enough to give me a film camera to keep on shooting. But yeah, just interesting how you bump into strangers and they appreciate help, and you make friends that way. So yeah, that's what happened yesterday. She gave me the tripod back today. She even paid me for like a rent because she got paid by the airline. So that was a, you know, very good experience for both of us. And nothing. I've been here just moving stuff, painting. I did my medium format workshop in my new studio on Sunday, which was really fun. I already have one more for July, which is going to be a lot of fun, and starting to do more things. I just found online a guy that posted his darkroom, and I'm getting ideas. So if you guys have ideas for darkrooms and how to set it up, I'd be very happy to see. And not much else really. I don't know if you have any other questions apart from digital enlargers and stuff like that. But yeah, oh, look what I found, or I pulled out of storage. We talked about shooting medium format with movements or shooting large format on the cheap, but not wanting to pay for that. This is the Horseman VHR. It's full of dust, but it's like a folding camera, kind of like a Graflex. It extends on the front here, just like those Toyo and Horseman. You're gonna go kayaking. So it has those little things, it has bellows, all the movements, and then on the back you have this little viewfinder. So it's like a large format camera, but it's a 6x9. So you have all the benefits of the movements, but you have medium format film, which is cheap enough to keep on shooting. Let me get this. 6x9, 6x7. The lenses, I have a filter on it because I don't have a cap. Lenses are pretty tiny, they're like a large format lenses. The lens boards are ultra small, and oh my god. They're proprietary of the camera, so you have to use the ones they made. You can't use like a Linhof style or anything like that. There we go. So there's the lens. That's a large format, but it's not 6x9. F Montage says, have you tried the Lucky Film China already? Not so cheap on eBay, more expensive than Kodak Ek launch. I was talking today about it. In China, it's selling at $3.6 or euros. I'm not sure, the currency they gave me today. And I have not shot it yet. I will try to get my hands on some. They also are making already 4x5 and 8x10. I haven't had the time to include it on the news because they were recorded. And yeah, Sean, that's interesting. I'll talk about that in a sec. And basically, yeah, the Lucky Film is back. They're making 35mm film at more than it should be from Kodak or Ilford. And they're making large format, 4x5 and 8x10 at least. I've heard that they want to do color film, so we'll see what happens. When I test it out, I'll let you guys know. I'll make a video if I can for the YouTube channel. But yeah, haven't tried it yet. So Sean says, finding amazing looking deals on large format lenses and then realizing they're 6x9 lenses is so infuriating. That's something that a lot of people are probably stumbling upon, coming from maybe medium format or 35 or digital, and getting some kind of camera. I know you have Can-Ham, which is not a beginner's camera, but a lot of people have been buying those Intrepid or those cheap ones from Ghirellini, and they're just jumping onto large format very fast, maybe without doing the research. And there are probably a lot of people buying lenses like this 105. This won't cover 4x5. So most of the lenses that are 105 won't cover 4x5. Also some cheap like 65s, those most of the top core, which was the this one's the top core. Yeah, super top core. These won't cover usually 4x5. So if you go here and you can check super top core, that won't let me focus. I don't know if Instagram has focus. Nope. Oops, sorry, I don't know what I touched. Okay, now I flipped the camera, great. Okay, so yeah, these super top core lenses are not for 4x5 unless very much stated. I wouldn't kind of trust it. Then there's a lot of 120s that also don't cover, especially the older ones. So yeah, you got to be careful. I recommend you check forums. There's a large format forum which has a lot of useful information. They have a few charts talking about the different 4x5s and the different 8x10, sometimes even 11x14. They have charts about what lenses would cover what. But yeah, cheap lenses sometimes could be 6x9 lenses. This little camera has all the movements. If you guys have never seen it, it will go up and down. I don't know if you can see it, but it will go, look, it's even geared. Look at the size of that little gear. It can go up, so you can have rise and fall. Then it has like shift, and it has every single movement in this little camera. I wish someone would make something like this again, and you know, cheap. That'd be nice to see, because most of the cheap cameras are field cameras and they have no geared movements. I was researching this Congo 90.5 for ages before realizing the image circle was only 4 inches across. If you want a cheap 90, check the Schneider Angulon 5.6, the older ones. I have a 6.8 from Grand Dagon, which is rod and stock, which is also pretty affordable. I think I paid like 200 euros for mine. They're, you know, the green line are the modern ones, like the 6x12, but this is a 45. So yeah, you can find a 90 around 200 euros or 200 pounds or something like that. And they're usually pretty good. I usually have bought f8 or f6.8 and it's good enough. If you're looking for a really like, you know, a lot of light, I never know the word, but a lot of light will go through. An f4.5, you got the Nikon, that's a 4.5. I'm Nico's. I just want to show off it's not mine, the 6x12, so it's just here because I'm not using it. I have a faulty back and it's sitting here. But yeah, the Nikon 90 4.5 is one of the best options if you want something that has a bit more light. Also, if you can, add a Fresnel. I also have a Hogarth broken Pentax 6x7 laying down here, which won't work. So I just haven't had time to organize my table. That's why I have everything around. But yeah, another great lens, Sean, is the 90 f8 from Nikon. That's one of the best backpack lenses. I've had the f8 and the f4.5, and I'll send you the Pentax later. Just send me your address. And they're both great. They actually both have the same image circle. The 90 4.5 is pretty huge. The back element is pretty big. So if you want something lightweight, get the F8. But yeah, this has the mini graph lock back, which is very interesting. I don't even remember how to open it, which is sad. That's how long I've been without using it. But yeah, fun little camera. I'll see if I can do a review if I remember how to use it. And not much else. I'm having a photo shoot tomorrow in the studio. I got some Acros, which I never shoot, but I think shooting a model. Acros 100 is probably one of the smoothest films out there, and I'm scared that Fuji will stop making it, so I'm getting as much as I can. I want to shoot as much as I can. But yeah, someone asked me this week, I've been seeing deals. I've been watching for more Pentax bodies, especially the older ones, the 6x7 and 6x7 MLU, which is mirror lockup. On this camera, it's over here, but on the older ones, it's over here. And there's not a lot of options on Pentax, so I'm interested to see where you guys find certain deals, because they happen to have disappeared. The cheapest ones are always in Japan and always have some kind of fault. They're either rusted or, something's going on with them. They got fungus. Ever try any of the Rollei black and white films or Adox films? I have not tried any of them. I have been wanting to try them, and I'm kind of a one guy film, so I've been shooting, as you know, Ilford HP5 as long as I can. I will do Acros. Hi Jacob. Hogger talked to me about you, and so yeah, no Adox and no Rollei. They're both made in Germany, and I think they're both made in Germany. RPX 400 is paper thin as sheet. Yeah, that happened to the Cinestill people. They said that their sheet film for the Cinestill was too thin to actually be in the registration focusing point for sheet film, and they were actually pretty concerned, and that's why they haven't offered it as an option after they finished their Indiegogo campaign. So they were going to ship it with a piece of paper, and you could put it in your film holder and it would kind of make it the thickness you needed. So yeah, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of very thin paper. I mean, film that might not be the size you need. I'll put this here, it looks much nicer. Look at that. Looks like I'm sponsored. Rollei's 4x5 is incredibly thin. I like the CR200 Rollei, but I'm curious to actually try Adox film. I have some Adox film, but it's ortho film for 11x14. I haven't tried it yet. It's like ISO 3 or 6 ultra contrasty. But if I get to try it, I'll let you guys know. I'm not into experimenting with film and my money usually, but maybe I'll give it a try. And what else have I seen? Have you seen the SP? I'm telling you, I just did the news. I can't even say the name. SP2810, which is basically that, like the SP445, which was the little tank to do 8x10 film. It uses over 2 liters of chemistry. I don't know how that's going to work for 2 sheets of film. Hopefully they can make it for 4 sheets and cut it down to like a liter. F Montage says it's the same with Rollei 135, but no focus issues at all, thanks to pressure plates. Yeah, that's the thing. On your 35, you have a pressure plate that will push the film against the camera. But on 4x5, you have a pretty big space, and if your film is not the thickness, it could wobble. And as you know, depth of field on 4x5 and 8x10 is much smaller, and that means any little movement, you can have issues with that. So I don't know, if I ever try that Adox or Rollei film, I'll let you know. I don't know. I don't know if there's any questions you have. If you guys don't have any questions, I'm happy to, call it a day or whatever. It's 9:30 almost, and I got a ton of stuff to do. So if you guys think it's best that we move to next week, I'll go for next week. There's 7 people watching, so I don't know if you guys have anything you want to know or ask. I've been thinking about starting a new website or project about magazines or zines, photography based. I don't know if there's any interest on that. I know there's a lot of photo book, like Vibe and Fever, but I don't see that much on zines. The reason I asked is because I've read that Adox is a good replacement for Acros. Adox does have some technical films like ISO 12 and ISO 25, and I'm sure if you use those, they probably have very thin grain and are very good. It's just the Acros is like amazing, and the tonality. It also does really well on reciprocity. You don't need to compensate for 120 seconds, which is amazing, and then that to like 100 seconds. No, sorry, like 1,000 seconds, something like that. Only one stop. Kim from Sweden, if I'm not wrong, I hope I didn't mess that up, says do some talk on prints. Actually, I'll bring a project I have. So I have been having questions now that I remember about Hogarth, about his darkroom. He's been learning to do black and white darkroom prints, and he's been asking me what paper to start with, what's multigrade, what's graded paper. So for example, graded paper is paper that has a fixed contrast, so you can't change it on that. Like if you want to do contact prints, you just buy like graded paper, a 2 and 2.5, and you just use that. You don't have to look for your contrast. You can also set it on your enlarger on a multigrade paper. And multigrade means it has like all the options in the paper. So you can use the filters on your color head, or you can use the filters that they come with the Ilford ones. Fiber looks terrible. No, it's the other way around. It's resin that looks terrible. This is resin paper. Resin is plastic, basically paper, and it looks like those prints they give you at the cheap 1 hour labs or, that kind of work. Sorry, I think my kid's up. And then the fiber base is a bit more thick paper. It's like real paper. It has like cotton rag, and it feels really good. So do I have a personal preference on what you think looks better? I think fiber base looks much better. Montage says, have you ever printed some publications? My darkroom master told me that a full analog process from shot to book is impossible. Better to scan prints and not negatives unless on a drum scanner. Yeah, cheap is RC paper. So, for example, I don't know if you guys know Tim Rudman. Tim Rudman has some real good books on toning and darkroom techniques. And I think last year or the year before, he had a book on Iceland. And what he did, he's a master printer, so he does his prints, he tones them to selenium or whatever process, and those are his final pictures. So as those prints can't go in a book directly, what he did do is send them to Tim Parkins in the UK has this online store called cheapdrumscanning.co.uk or something like that. And what they did there is they scanned those prints as best they could with a drum scanner, and those prints were in the book. So what he basically did, the good thing about the prints is you can see the print, just like slide film. When you scan slide film, you can see what to expect when you're scanning. So he would scan those prints, compare them to the real prints, retouch them to make them look exactly as much like as close as possible, and then make them a book. So I don't think you can actually nowadays go from darkroom to book without any kind of digital, you know, overlay. Maybe if there's some way to make a book that's not digital, but I don't imagine that being easy or cheap. So yeah, back to paper. Cheap paper RC. This is a project I did shooting 100 rolls with a Hasselblad SWC. I have never published it anywhere. I made contact prints, and then I made little prints to edit. So these are all done in the darkroom in the span of like, do you think there'll be ever a market again for chrome printing? I don't think so. I think chrome printing, we will never see it again, sadly. So yeah, what I did is I made these little proofs in the darkroom. This was a day and a half of darkroom work, and they're all like little postcards of this project. It involves architecture, modern architecture, and very old people. And this is shot all on HP5 pushed to 16, no, yeah, 800 I think, with a yellow filter, and shooting around town, shooting handheld, hyper focus shooting. This is probably the most I've ever shown of my work anywhere. And these are supposed to be a project. They're in order, so that's why they look all similar. Like we go to the back, we've got an interesting bridge, interesting building. I have some pictures of that building which are nice. Interesting building again. This was when I didn't work in the mornings for a little bit. So every day in the morning I would grab my camera, go for walks looking for old people and shooting. Someone told me not so long ago I should try to make something with this. HP5, yes. 6x6 Hasselblad super wide. Don't have the camera any longer. I want to get it again though. So yeah, these were proofs. So these were all made, I'm telling you, in a day and a half. I had my enlarger set like to something I thought was okay. I was metering all the same, so they're all pretty similar. And what I did basically, there's like, I even made a stamp, even though it's not here, that said like contact sheet 7 out of 100, frame 2 out of 12, and that's what it shows on the back. When I started following you on Instagram, that's the camera you were using, and Kim said you should do something about it. I printed this on a color head using probably grade 2.5 on multi-grade paper, RC. This is 5x7, and the size of the print is probably like 4.5 by 4.5 inches. Someone told me I should send it to someone to edit it and make a little zine or magazine or book or something with it. Maybe one day I'll finish the project and I'll make something out of it. But yeah, so darkroom printing, it's basically what I love the most. I think it's the best way to see your black and white shots. Even my color shots, now that I got up to get this, let me show you a few color shots. There's probably a lot of glare, but hey. So yeah, what I was saying, 6x7 shot on the Mamiya 7 with the 80. You can tell the Mamiya 7 is it because it has a little notch on the bottom right corner. Certain cameras have like notches, like the Hasselblad has the 2 little peaks on the side. The Mamiya 7 has that little like moon on the bottom. The Pentax, so I had a Pentax 6x7 that someone had cut of the your back. However, they had cut some notches so you could tell. And this reason, some people even cut more of the Hasselblad notches on the frames. And this was done basically so photographers could give like a copyright, you know, like that was my frame. Like I shot that model or that was my work. And they would make those marks on the cameras so you could see that on the negative. So they're sent like contact prints to a magazine or publication, those little marks were their you know, signature or watermark nowadays. So if you're ever curious, you bought a secondhand camera and it has some notches that are not usual, that's why. So yeah, shot this on color printed in the darkroom with a Jobo machine on Fuji crystal color paper bought in the UK, AG Photographic. The chemistry is very cheap compared to black and white. Well, black and white paper is expensive, color paper is cheap, black and white chemistry is cheaper, the color chemistry is a bit more expensive. So yeah, color printing can be done. One day I'll find the box with a lot more prints, and hopefully now that I'll have my darkroom, I'll be printing more in color. One of the associates in the studio prints color all the time, so we'll get some of that into video. But yeah, that's the film stock I used to use. Now I'm going to go back to color for certain things, and I'm going to be shooting Portra 400 and 160. I have a project on 4x5 that I'm going to shoot on Portra 160, and then I have a project which I want to tell you guys. Sorry for the back and forth. I have 3 boxes of Portra 400 NC in 8x10. I don't know if it'll compensate for that. They expired in 2012 and they're getting old. So I've decided I'm going to do a project. There's like a gastronomical party here July 23rd. And I'm going to take all my Portra 8x10 film and I'm going to shoot it all in that day. I want to take some portraits and candids of those people cooking. They cook like paellas. If you've never seen a paella, it's like a big rice plate or bowl or frying pan, sorry. And they put all kinds of things and they decorate them, and it's like there's a contest. I'm going to be shooting this stuff. I have, I think, 30 sheets. I don't know if you can see the price. No price on this one. But this stuff nowadays is 160 bucks in the States and 255 euros in Europe. So before it goes bad, I'm going to shoot it all in one day, have a project, maybe kind of try to do something out of it. And I'll let you guys know. I want to see if I can find someone that will come with me and we'll make a video out of it. But I don't have a lot of friends that do video or would know how to do it. So yeah, if you guys want to see more 8x10 color shots, hopefully by July you'll see some. I don't know if I'll have the time to develop it and show it to you before I go on holidays. But yeah, that's what I want to do with this film before it goes bad. You guys were asking about darkroom work. I even have some Civichrome paper and chemistry, which I hopefully will use to develop, and some slides. I don't know if it'll be old or not, and I'm very concerned about how I will tell if it's in good condition or not. So that will be another experiment I will share with you guys. But yeah, anything you guys want to ask, now's the time. It's 9:40. We've got 20 minutes till I end the live stream. I had a lot of people in the workshop ask me about what, like, they were people that were shooting digital, were bored of digital, hi 20 Falkar, and wanted to get into film, and they were new to medium format. Actually, one of the people that came to one of the students that came was probably in his late 50s, and he had never developed film, so it was very interesting. Can you hold up the camera in front of you? Yeah, here. This is a Horseman VH R 6x9. You can shoot little film holders with 6x9 film, or roll film holders with roll film. This is 6x9 by Horseman. It'll actually even tell you the amount of exposures, so you can remember. So it says 8 exposures at 120, which means 6x9. So yeah, it has bellows, a back. It even has a rangefinder. It uses cams on the bottom, which are really hard to find and expensive. and it was made by Horseman. Thank you. It's a cheap way to shoot, for example, slide film. I use this little film reminder to know what film I have here, which has been in here for too long. But it's a cheap way to get to shoot slide film with movements. If you guys are into slide film, for example, Hogarth is all about Provia 100F, and if you don't want to buy 4x5 and you want to shoot with movements, a 6x9 or 4x5 with a 6x9 back is also a great option. But 6x9 turned into being pretty cheap because people don't find them very interesting. But this little camera is a lot of fun. As you saw at the beginning, it folds into basically nothing. You'll see. It won't fold with the lens inside, at least not the 105. And it has the rails, goes up, and that's the size of the camera. If you want to see, oops. That's a brick of 35 film. That's the size of the camera. So 10 rolls of film, 6x9 camera, approximately. So yeah. Is it the ideal 6x9 camera compared to, let's say, the Fuji GW 6x9? It's, I don't know, ideal. It's not ideal to handhold. It's ideal if you want to shoot with movements. Like you have the Horseman versions, there's the Graflex babies, there is the Linhof 6x9, and there's a few others. There's some Arca Swiss 6x9s where they're really expensive, but this thing is little, small. This handle is totally unnecessary. I don't even know how to take it off, so I should try to see how I can take it off so it will be much smaller. It has a little strap here, so you can shoot it handheld. I would never. Even though I do have the cam, I've checked it and it's not properly calibrated. It even has like the frame lines in there. Let's see if you guys can see it. Let me see. Can you guys see the frame lines there? Which is pretty nice. You can move it and see what it is. And then on this side is the rangefinder. You can see the patch there. So yeah, it has a little rangefinder that you can use, and then you have like this one to compose. Oh, I'm looking the other way around. Sorry. You have this, and then you have the rangefinder to actually focus. What would be your camera preference for 6x9? For shooting 6x9 handheld and walking around, I had the Fuji GW690, the third one, which is the plastic fantastic one. And that camera was big in volume, but very lightweight. It was great. The Fuji lens is amazing, but anyone that shoots medium format knows that Fuji lenses are really good. The only thing is you can't change the lens. There's a wide version, the 65, which is the I think it's the GSW or the GWS, I'm not sure. I think it's GSW 690. And to me, that's the best handheld. It's the Texas Leica, they call it. You can handhold it and just go anywhere. Very lightweight, shoots great, great lens. It only focuses at 1 meter, so if you're used to that 0.7 or maybe a little shorter from rangefinders, you'll find yourself a little upset. But the Mamiya 7 doesn't focus much closer either. And if you want to do any movements, I would say something like this. Like something lightweight, you can throw in a little, like I use this, I've taken this on my little side bag with the 6x9, but you have to take the film, like you have to take a tripod. So you can mount the tripod here, and it has a way to mount the tripod here too. And it actually rotates, which I think I just found out how to do it. Yeah, look, it even rotates. So it has one of those backs that will rotate whatever amount of degrees that is, 90. Sorry, my brain doesn't work at this time. So yeah, that's how you use it. Oscar asks, so I know you don't like to scan film. Do you have any tip for scanning slide film? Shot some Velvia. The slides look great, but when scans, the colors just become awful. And Kim asks him, I'm guessing, what scanner you using in program? Slide film is probably the easiest film to scan because you can see your negatives and a light table, and you can tell. And F Montage says if you shoot color film just for scanning, go for digital. I have to say, I'm in that same kind of like thought, that train of thought, but at the same time, I've been shooting slide lately, and what you get out of slide, you don't get out of digital. It's amazing. It's so fun. It's made me want to buy more slide, and I bought some not so long ago to shoot it with small cameras, like stuff like this, and see how it comes. But I used to use ViewScan. I paid for it. I have the license somewhere, and I scanned with that, and I had no big issue. And you just a regular Epson scan on the Epson V600. All the Epson V600, V500, V700, V800 are all 99.9% the same. I've done with a friend a comparison from a V500, which is cheaper, to a V700, and which was more expensive, the V750 Pro, and they were looking exactly the same. Same resolution, same amount of detail. It was just a little slower. That's about it. Positive paper, try Silverfast. I never tried Silverfast. I use ViewScan and Epson Scan, but you got to play around with the professional or easy mode and find your best results. I can't tell you from, at least not from my memory, how it would do it. And Folkar says best colors. I do find slide film when exposed properly looks the best. I shot some Velvia 50 for a video review. I'm editing now with a Fuji GA645, and it's so fun. You can tell it's slide film, and maybe you can replicate it on digital, but I don't even want to learn if there is a way, because I'm not interested on spending all that time in front of a computer. I already spent it on the videos. Jacob asks, or 731 asks, have you any experience using positive paper in 4x5? Nope, I have never used a positive paper in 4x5. I have been recommended to try it out. I am going to try to shoot some of that new 55, which I've had for a little bit soon, and that's the closest thing that I will shoot that's not positive. It is positive, but it's a positive negative. You fix the negative and you keep the positive as a Polaroid. And I'll let you know. Positive paper, I've always been concerned of the contrast. It has a lot of contrast, and people pre-flash it and then develop it. Some people develop it in coffee, so it looks like a little bit more like toned. But I do want to try it out, and especially for 11x14, now that I have the studio, because I can use flashes. The guy at the studio has a set of proper flashes, not these little strobes. That's what I have. So I will be trying positive paper in 4x5 and probably bigger. Let me see. Oh, 10:10. So yeah, I'll let you guys know how it works, and how do I do the pre-flashing if I do it. I know there's a guy called Tim something on YouTube and Facebook. Tim Layton has like ebooks and videos on 11x14, like positive paper and 8x10. I took a portrait of Hogarth, and it looked kind of interesting, similar to wet plate in tone. I think that has to do with the fact that it's probably orthochromatic, and or I'm terrible at remembering names, but the sensitive, like it's sensitive to different lighting, so probably that's why it gives that wet plate tone or feel. If you can tag me on it, I'd love to see it. But yeah, there's also that Galaxy paper that's being so iffy about if is it good enough or they're actually serving it. I know there was some issues with Galaxy Notebook, and I don't know what's happened there. Also, studio lighting video using only continuous lights would be interesting to see. Studio lighting? You mean making a photography with continuous lighting? Or you mean making video on using continuous lighting? Also studio lighting video. Ortho drops. Okay, so yeah, I do have these horrible LCDs that were cheap as hell, and this is what I use, so I'm not like in a dark room. And I can make a video on that and see how it looks on photography. Doesn't have a lot of power. I thought it would have more power towards, it works well for video, but not for photography. But I'll try to make a video on how that would work. Good thing about this is that you can see straight away if there's going to be a shade, if like I have like black rings under my eyes. But like if you were to use continuous light, you would see very easily what is the shade that you're going to get and if you like it or not. But I'll make a video on using that. I'll take my continuous lighting and shoot some large format, maybe 4x5, stuff like that. That'll be easy to see, you know, bigger piece of film. Also, I want to do a video on shooting strobes with the Pentax. As you guys know, the Pentax 6x7 only shoots at 1/30th sync. So when you put this on X, it'll only sync at 1/30th, which people don't like and complain a lot about that. So I'll see if I get, not this Pentax, which is broken, but the other Pentax to shoot some strobes at 1/30th. All you have to do in studio is control the, you know, the amount of ambient light so you can shoot at 1/30th. Paper have very slow ISO. The Galaxy paper, which is not a proper positive paper, has an ISO of around 100 or 125. So they have that picture on their Kickstarter of someone playing like volleyball on an 8x10. And they're like, what? Positive paper, volleyball, frozen in the air. So I don't know if that still works or it's any. I remember reading that it was not really a positive paper. You would develop it and then you would have to like invert it with some chemical, so you would turn it into positive. So I don't know if anyone's been using that, but I'm interested to see how it's been working with the users. But yeah, that's what I'll be getting to do when I have a little bit more time. Right now, building, everything's turned to be very interesting. I've been reading and exposing my Ilford positive paper at ISO 1. Yeah, you need a lot of sun with ISO 1. So it was, continuous light would be hard. ISO 1 in Sunny 16 is 1 second f16. Well, if you're in the sun, then you can do like, instead of 1 second, half a second f8, a fourth of a second. You can shoot that with sunlight. But then again, if you're in straight sunlight at ISO 1, it's super contrasty. So I guess you have to maybe keep the person stuck and shoot something like that, or landscapes. But I just don't see the benefit of shooting direct positive unless it's a big size and I can give that positive to someone. And that's what I wanted to do, is I wanted to set my 11x14 somewhere and like a backdrop, a kind of studio set up in the street, and develop and give prints to people. I think that would be pretty fun. Also, I think I remember that you remind me, Jacob, is it RC paper? I think the fiber base didn't work. So washing time should be down to like a few minutes, which is pretty easy. Because if you want to do it out and about, you can't be doing that. You had him sit very still as I set off a handheld flash 6 times. Okay. I don't know if I would be able to like, you know, use, oh, it's fiber for the positive. How do you wash it? How long do you wash it? because I wash my fiber paper for an hour. So yeah. Also, that's my issue with certain films. Like I don't know if I'm willing to experiment with like certain amounts of money. Yeah, he's gonna private send me a picture, and if you give me permission, I'll put it on the YouTube video with credit to you, so people can see what we're talking about. But I don't always feel like friendly to spend money on certain experiments, especially if they're gonna be, you know, not successful. Like direct positive paper, unless you gotta test it a lot, you won't get something usable, and then I always end up not doing it. You can do paper, negative paper, and contact print. That also, it's pretty much, I think at the end you sandwich the negative on the paper onto a positive. That's what they do with what they call the ACFUN boxes, which in Spain is very normal, and it's called minutera. They take your portrait on paper, and then they take a picture of that picture to invert it. They do it all inside the camera. They have their chemicals, so they put their paper in there and they and develop it, and they have a bucket of water. They wash it and they give it to you. They even do like a vignetting so it looks like vintage and stuff. But yeah, well, I think today has been a mellow day on our live. Thanks for joining me. I'm gonna see if I upload the news, which I have just finished exporting. And we'll see each other next week. Hopefully I'll have more to talk about. And if you guys have any questions, remember you can contact me through social media, ask me questions, and I'll research and try to do my best to answer. Thanks again for watching and for being there. See you next week. Bye.